Hello everyone, it's Rerun here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we're going to take a look at poll priorities for the month of May, now that we have the schedule that was dropped a couple days ago. Now, we talked about it a little bit when I made my video as soon as May's schedule dropped, but now I thought I'd take a little bit more of a in-depth look at everything it'll be dropping, and kind of discussing its poll priority with regards to all of the cards and Umas that'll be dropping during the month, as well as what we'll be getting here in the next couple months as well, and how well you can kind of deal with saving up carrots, because we already know we have some big banners coming up here in the future that a lot of people are trying to save for. And so with that, we'll kind of just get right into it. Now, unlike last month, in the month of April, there was a lot of Umas that had decent inherits. You had Nishino Flower, you have King Halo, as well as one that I really liked, Ines Fujin, just being a good grandparent rotation. But this month it is going to be fairly straightforward. Mostly, pretty much all Oshi picks, and then the support cards, none of them being big meta inherits. So the first one we're going to have coming out here is going to be Mejiro Palmer, another frontrunner. And I do like to pull my frontrunners just for having Umas to kind of cycle through and making good great grandparents. Now, Mejiro Palmer is going to be our first banner with a runaway frontrunner on it. Now, Silent Suzuka came originally with the game, but we didn't get the buff to give her runaway until the November 11th update that gave us the first anniversary stuff early. She is one that we will be able to pull for that has it right off the bat. Now, she is more targeted towards being a frontrunner on longs, and to me, more so the Rima Keenan long champions meetings versus the very long Tenno Show Spring. And that's just a simple fact that it's very hard for them to survive in the first place and then even be able to outright win. Why she's more targeted towards long? Well, first, I mean, you look at her aptitudes. She is a long medium. Mile F, so I guess you could try and make her work for Mile. Absolutely is a frontrunner, but she has a heal built into her alt. Now, it does have an increased target speed and stamina recovery. And basically, if you're in the front of the race, she's going to be able to get this one. This is a very easy one to trigger, so she does have a built-in, easy-to-trigger alt. Now, if you have another runaway, of course, you're going to have the problem on any longs that you're going to die, regardless of what you do with how much stamina it burns. But it is nice to have a heal built in with a speed increase. You compare that with another heal, and she'll easily be able to survive. When you actually look at her innate skill, she actually has a lot of good stuff built in. She has play times over, frontrunner straightaway, frontrunner savvy, and then pairing that with runaway, she already has 2 of her greens. Now, she doesn't have groundwork built in, which kind of sucks. But she has the gold version of playtimes over built in, and then a skill that pretty much has sucked for frontrunners on long, but will actually be useful on her, and that is Vanguard Spirit. And that is because it's really more of a targeted runaway skill, in that they have to have a fair margin distance or in the lead mid race to actually be able to trigger it. It's to me, I'd say it's fairly similar to Silent Suzuka's alt, although this one is a gold skill that you can actually get from the Mejiro Palmer Guts card as well. And it really only does work on runaways, so it has actually got value here. And with her having the built-in heal, it does definitely make her have some potential for those. Now, I will say one of the big negatives right off the bat, while I do like to see gold playtimes over, it's a skill you want to try and get built into your parents and grandparents to be able to get that and inherit on a lot of other Umas with playtimes over. When Light Hello drops, which everybody should get and pull for because she's pretty much mandatory for Grand Live when it drops, she has See You Later built into her. Just like how Rico had Russian Gale, but that was a skill that sucked that you never wanted to take. Light Hello is going to have a See You Later. And so, since we're going to have such easy access to that skill for Grand Live, as well as making parents using that card, which is what I will do, I'll bring Light Hello back and use her in Trackblazer when it comes to making parents, just for the simple fact that I have easy access to try and get playtimes over on them. That's a huge value reduction in her. I liked Ines Fujin because she had a Slipstream built in, as well as other skills that are a little bit harder to get. Well, this one will be much easier to kind of build in from that way. And then Vanguard Spirit just sucks all around on pretty much any other Uma or frontrunner, in that it only works on longs, and it's only going to work on runaways on longs, so it's kind of tied specifically to her. Don't really care about that for parents and grandparents. So to me, she's a very easy skip unless you want to definitely have a runaway that's going to be semi-okay on longs, and more specifically to me, the Arima Keenan. But very easy skip. We then have the rerun of Rice Shower Power and Marikane Fukutaru Speed. Rice Shower Power already is kind of a dead card at this point, unless you can really make it work with bringing a power card needing your heal. I've tried it out a little bit in Track Blazer, but Super Creek still feels a lot better, even if I'm trying to get a little bit more power on my side. But you have Marikane Fukutaru Speed. A lot of people have been liking her for Track Blazer, but by no means mandatory. If you didn't pull her on her release banner, just go ahead and skip this one. There's no reason to pull now. We're going to only have a few more Champions meetings before we move into Grand Live. And while you may hear people say that she still has some value in future scenarios that you could potentially take advantage of, there are so many other speed cards that you can also take advantage of. Agnes Tachyon Speed being a lot better, especially for Grand Live. You should hopefully have Summer Muruzensky that'll be coming up here in a month or so. Kitasan Black. And while you can use her, there's just so many more options. So this is, to me, just don't even pull on that banner. Easy skip. The one after it, we have Fine Motion Wedding and Curran Chan Wedding. Now, I haven't really talked too much about Fine Motion Wedding. But she's not terrible. Biggest thing I think that you'll see with her is she has neck and neck built in, which is the gold version of Head On. So a gamble skill for your late race to get some acceleration. She has changing gears built in. So both gold, very usable. Very built for miles as well. She has mile corners, fall runner, so your fall miles. Although I believe the mile that's coming up is going to be a spring, so you're not going to be able to take advantage of that green there. Has quite a few things in here. Has prepared to pass, as well as some others. She does have some mediums. She has straight descent for the, I forget which track. I think it's the Hanshin one that has a downhill that you can take advantage of with, again, another gamble on straight descent. As well as like mile straightaways, pace chaser, corner. She has a lot of built-in skills. One negative, though, of Fine Motion is the same thing of the OG Fine Motion. She does have prepared to pass built in, but she can't get Speed Star in this one through her kit, and then you also can't get it off of Fine Motion Wit, because you cannot use Fine Motion Wit with her. So that's one of the big negatives of Fine Motion, is while her card, if you pulled on it, and you're utilizing as your main Wit card, you lose access to it when building her. So kind of a big negative there. Although the other one that's on this banner is a very good Uma, but for a very specific purpose. And it's going to make her, to me, a very easy skip if you're willing to spend any money on this game, because you can get her down the line on a selector. That's going to be a Curran Chan wedding version. And it's all coming down to her unique skill here, which is an if positioned towards the front with 350 meters or less remaining. And there's another Umamusume close behind. The determination to stay ahead makes it easier to break out of the pact. And what it's effectively saying is, if she's in towards the front, she can get an acceleration and a speed increase if there's an Umamusume right behind her. 350 meters is basically perfect timing for a 1,000-meter sprint. I think a 1,000-meter sprint starts at 333 meters, being 350. You're going to have that little bit of speed that's going to carry over, that you're going to accelerate to this new speed that'll carry over, plus still have acceleration going into the late race for 5 seconds. Going to be very massive on the 1,000-meter. The problem is all the champions meter sprints are going to be at 1,200 meters, which starts the late race at 400 meters, which has this being a decent amount late. And if you've probably already seen with the sprint we had, I mean, if you're late on those accelerations, you're generally already screwed at that point. If someone else gets lucky with theirs, you're probably going to lose. And while I do feel like she'll still be pretty decent on the 1,200-meter sprints, by no means like a big meta choice. Now, down the line, in I believe it's the Great Food Festival scenario, which is like another 4 or 5 scenarios from now, we will have a League of Heroes, which is another new endgame mode we'll get. That is going to be on the 1,000-meter track, and she is going to be super meta for that. And unlike Champions meetings, that one you want all 3 of your Umas to be very strong, because you need all of them to be getting first, second, and third place. And that is where you're going to want her. But it is quite a ways away, and you can just pick wetting Curran Chan up. Basically, at any time you want with a selector, an Uma selector for that one. And you have basically a few scenarios to do that. And so if you're willing to spend any money at all to get her that way, just go ahead and skip her here. And even then, if you're complete free to play, you could always just say, hey, I'm going to get screwed in that sprint and just not have her. So very easy skip. There's a lot better options for the sprints coming out that the champions meeting ones that she's an easy skip. Then we have the next banner that's paired with that, which is going to have Haru Urara Power alongside a new Ikuno Dictus Stamina. The power Haru Urara is pretty bad overall. It does have skill point gain, which is probably the only positive thing in it. Some training effectiveness. You have the 10% race bonus. So it's a power card that works in Track Blazer in that aspect. Some friendship bonus. A decent initial friendship. So all around good on the stat stick side of things. But if you remember the Guts Urara card, she's got the same problems that no real skill hints to get. She does give you stat gains, but her gold skill that she has tied to it is Hard Worker, which is just all around a bad skill in general. So no reason to pull over this one at all. The only thing it's got going on it is a stat stick. And I mean, the Guts Urara is better as a stat stick in terms of Guts build anyway. So if you're going to bring her, just bring the free one that everyone has access to. Now when it comes to the Ikuno Stamina card here, this one, I mean, you already know we have eventually Super Creek will rerun during Grand Line, which is kind of the core stamina card most people are going to want. You're going to see she does have the 10% race bonus, a decent friendship, and then the total bond of all of your support cards gives her a higher training effectiveness. This is one of those things where you got to build that up, which generally you're going to want to in Track Blazer anyway. So you can kind of get that training effectiveness out of that. You have stamina bonus, initial guts, initial friendships okay at 25, hint levels 3. But if you probably already know the Ikuno Dictus Guts card, which is a decent one for Track Blazer, and the fact that it's 15% race bonus. But while she's decent for race bonus, she sucks for skills, and she still sucks for skills here. Her best thing being for late surgers, position pilfer, and late stager corners. But she does have another gold skill that this is going to be our first occurrence of it. Keep going alongside full throttle. You probably noticed this. We're constantly getting new skills added like every couple weeks with a patch. We just got a couple of them I think like a week ago. This is going to be another one. We're going to see some new skills. And so this one is a greatly consume endurance mid-race and greatly increase velocity. So it's a late surger way to get a big speed increase of 0.45 for 2.4 seconds at the cost of 0.02 stamina. So that's like its main values. You can get a big speed increase at the cost of some stamina, so you can build around it. But, I mean, ultimately, the reason you're bringing a stamina card is because you're needing, one, a heal, most likely, so that you can survive probably the longs. So a stamina card that's giving you a skill that's actually draining energy is not going to be all that good. So very easy skip. Neither of those cards are big pickups there. We then have the next support card after that, which is going to be Inari One. Now, Inari One's actually an Uma that I kind of like. I feel like she's going to be a very good one to utilize and try once I eventually get into like dirt rotations in the future. But that's a longer term goal, being able to get those easy dirt sparks. And that is because she's got, she can pretty much get through every race in the Track Blazer or even future scenarios when it comes to building those very high affinity Umas. Being that she's Turf A and Dirt A, just like Agnes Digital, she's got Long A, Medium A, Mile B, very easy to get that up. And then Short F, you can put a bunch of short sparks in there, and now she can do everything. She is an end closer, but she is able to be a late or pace pretty easily. But when you kind of look at her kit, she is more targeted towards end. And so we get in there, I mean, her unique, it's just another big greatly speed increase. She gets a big, I mean, it's a good, just general increase there. And it is a decent one at I mean, being 0.45, it's an okay inherit there, but you just got so many better options out there that'll be a little bit more consistent. Now, this one is just kind of like Tamamo Cross, another one that has Tail 9. She has Winter Runner, so for the winter races. So you can and then with Tail 9 and Straightaway Spurt, you can kind of think she's more targeted towards Arima Keenan in that aspect. But then she also has Master of the Sands, which will be good for the upcoming Dirt, which is the medium Dirt. So you'll have a heal for it, but the nice thing about Master of the Sands, it is a heal that also has a speed increase tied to it. So you're not getting a complete negative of, man, I'm spending all these skill points just for the heal. At least now you're getting a speed increase tied to it. And it's a 0.35, so a pretty good one. But it is very dirt. It is dirt specific. So, and realistically, we're only going to have that medium dirt every so often. It's going to alternate with the mild dirt. And so very rarely are you going to be able to take advantage of that. But Tail 9 is really, really nice overall. And then she, of course, has like ramp up, forward march. All I've got, which is good for the mediums. So if you want another good dirt Uma that you can use to make dirt sparks, you can go ahead and pulver her. But I'll say if you're really wanting, especially for long, which end closers you know are pretty strong on the long champions meetings, down the road here during Grand Live on the festival banner, this is the one I'd say you would probably be better pulling on. And that is because you have Inari One, the festival version, quite similar, but she's more targeted towards doing the long champions meetings versus the other one, which is more for dirts. In that her golds are innate experience, very strong late race speed skill on the longs. She has encroaching shadow, just outright to me, making her replace Narita Taishin. Encroaching shadow, innate experience, very strong for longs. I mean, she does have rapid ascent for dirts, but I don't know why you would use festival on that one. And then when it comes to the evolutions, all the other ones that have encroaching shadow built in, Narita Taishin being one of them, they get this evolution to it. You get the acceleration and then a bonus field of view. Big whoop. I mean, that evolution sucks. It's one reason Narita Taishin's kind of, when evolutions comes out, gets really no buffs. But she has actually a second evolution tied to it that you can take instead, which is this one down here. That makes it you have that acceleration tied to it, but then also a speed increase later. So another late race speed skill, which makes me feel like she's going to be super good if you like your end closers on longs. And I'd rather pick this one up. And the nicer thing too with this one as well is she's paired with Tamamo Cross Festival, so you could pick up both of them. And Tamamo Cross Festival is basically the Pace Chaser Tamamo Cross. Tamamo Cross, you remember, the OG one is more targeted towards End Closer. This one is more targeted towards Pace Chaser, and more specifically a medium Pace Chaser. She has killer tunes, and it's on built-in. So two really good Umas on one banner. If you want Inari One, this is what I would save for versus pulling her down here, and just continue to save your carrots at this point. Which is very important. And then when we look at the banner after it, it's another rerun one. We're going to have Admire Vega Power. Mr. CB is available now, which has the Daring Strike on it. So there's no reason to pull for Admire Vega Power now. It's Daring. The only real value out of Admire Power Vega for Daring Strike is going to be for Mr. CB herself when she drops. That's the only way to get Daring Strike on her at that point in time, because she can't use her own support card. But very skippable. And then Sakura Chiono, which was a stamina skill, which its main point to it overall is for Track Blazer having 15% race bonus. Now she does have Speed Star, I guess, too, for your Pace Chasers. But overall, I mean, you should hopefully be getting that off Fine Motion. And we're getting towards the end. I mean, we still have like 3 more Champions meetings, but we are getting close enough towards the end. That you don't really want to start investing in Track Blazer support cards and should be looking more forward towards Grand Live and Future at that point. Which that's going to pretty much be everything for May. And as you can see, the whole reason I'm saying, I mean, these are all easy skips, as you basically have all those, and then you're going to continue to have pretty easy skips if we look through what we have coming out in May. I mean, most of these are easy skips, and this allows you to keep saving, which is what you should be doing. Because not only do you have the Maruzensky speed card that'll be like a month and a half later, which will be a huge one to put a lot of pulls into. You also then have Kopano Riki, very strong Dirt Uma definitely a higher priority pickup for Dirt Umas over Inari One. Now she's very hard to build strong for Dirt because she wants 6 greens versus 3, like you see with front runners. But if you can pull off the build, she will be super, super strong. And then you have Agnes Tachyon, Speed, and Light Hello, which you've probably heard enough about at this point, being the scenario banner for Grand Live. So just take advantage of the month of May and then also June and just keep saving. I mean, now's the time to save, especially if you got wrecked on any of your other polls in April. Just start accumulating them because there will be some times where you're going to want to pull on multiple things and you need to take advantage of these times to save. That's going to be it for now on the pull priorities for the month of May. I'll probably try and do like a new player one. I forgot to do one that last week. I kind of got busy with tax season, but maybe I'll have one out tomorrow for kind of the pull priorities for new players to try and help them get established within the game and try and get up to speed as quickly as possible, which is going to be a little bit tougher now that we're past the first anniversary, and there's no real big banners right now for a new player. But I do have some ideas and I'll make that video for the next one, but that'll be it for now. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.